This is March. Welcome to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I'm your host, Noah Love, and we usually don't do Friday night episodes, but tonight we have to do one because we had some big things happen. We're going to recap the college basketball Friday night, and we're going to preview some big games on the weekend. We'll also be talking about Jason Tatum returning tonight in the game he had against the Mavs. But let's start with the biggest news. Maxx Crosby is now a Raven. Maxx, yes, you heard that right. Maxx Crosby is a Baltimore Raven. It, per Adam Schefter, ESPN sources, the Raiders agreed to trade five-time Pro Bowl defensive end Maxx Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for a 2026 and 2027 first-round pick. The trade cannot be processed until next week, but is in place, and Crosby is expected to be a Raven with 2 ones to back Vegas. The other one that Vegas is getting this year is Baltimore's 14th pick. So the Ravens have the first and 14th pick. So for them, I really think for them, good. I like them getting two future firsts. And obviously they got the 14th. They have the first and the 14th. I like that. Ravens, I love this. To me, when you looked when you looked at the Baltimore Ravens roster last year, they had one of the worst pass rushes in the game. They do not have that now with Maxx Crosby. This puts them in terms of the AFC, they're one of the favorites. When healthy, they are one of the favorites in the AFC. Because what don't they have? They have Lamar Jackson. They have the offensive line. They still have Henry running back there. They still, on defense, they have now elite pass rusher in Maxx Crosby. They have a great linebacker unit. They're very good in the back end. What don't they have? I mean, seriously. And I'm gonna say it. And for Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen now, there's no excuses. I mean, okay, maybe Josh. The defense has to get better, obviously, for them, but you got a number one receiver, so now in DJ Moore, which obviously you have to get Buffalo to get better. But again, I feel this way. No excuses for Josh, no excuses for Lamar. Lamar, to me, he has everything in place. The only question is about Jesse Minter as a head coach. But I'll say it again, what don't they have? They have a good receiving core, good tight ends. People are trying to make it like Zay Flowers is now number one when you have back to back 1,000-yard seasons. How aren't you a number one? You just have to find a way to stop blowing leads and being able to close out games. And honestly, defensively, Maxx Crosby, that's what he does. He's a closer. He gets after you. When it's 3rd and 9 and the game's on the line, Maxx Crosby's coming to get you. And then I've got Crosby, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith in a Jesse Minter defense. Man, I like Baltimore and their chances. Obviously, I gave this a couple hours to digest, but that was really my initial reaction to it. I love this for Baltimore and I love this for Vegas. I feel like it's a win-win. Vegas, because you get the extra first, you get the first for next year. You're in a rebuild, we know that. Maxx Crosby, I mean, let's be real. even if Max Crosby was on this team, they weren't going anywhere. They're not going anywhere next season. You want to give young players, you want to really rebuild this in the right way. Now, do I trust their front office to make the right moves? Yeah, with their recent history, no. But it's a step in the right direction to at least have assets and picks. And then also, you're going to have like almost over 100 million cap space, I believe. It's close to that, or over 100 million cap space, so you can make moves in free agency as well. We'll see what Clint Kubiak wants to do, mainly on the offensive side of the ball. They're gonna pick Mendoza, I think, so you'll have him, and then you'll have Ginty there. Brock Bowers isn't bad, so look, it's a step in the right direction for Vegas, and for Baltimore, I love it. To me, Baltimore, they, to me, go in terms of odds, they're probably second or third best odds to win the AFC. I do think Denver's probably still better by a little bit. I do think they're probably still better, but you, Buffalo doesn't have a better roster. Kansas City doesn't. The Chargers doesn't. New England, it's debatable. I think it's really close. They are going to run away with the North, I think. As long if they don't have like a lot of injuries like they did this year, they're gonna run away with it. Browns, son. Uh Bengals, son. Again, son. Burrow, Chase Higgins, that's great. You're letting Trey Hendrickson go for a bag of Lay's chips, not even the good, not even like the barbecue kind, just the regular kind. And I don't trust you with that top 10 pick at all. And then their only comp is Pittsburgh. Mike McCarthy's hired, but I don't know what their quarterback situation is looking like. And then I just don't know with Pittsburgh. I think Baltimore's clearly the best team in that division, so they better win the North. I don't know what's holding them. What would be holding them back? Obviously, we'll see what free agency and the draft holds, but I don't assume one of the teams below them are just going to take this jump. So props to props to DaCosta. He's serious. He's like, we gotta go big or go home try and win a Super Bowl. They swung big on Derrick Henry in free agency. They've made moves in the past, and this is another big move. Love it for Baltimore. Now let's get into actually, let's get into the NBA. Jason Tatum's back. Jason Tatum, after 10 months off, has returned to the Boston Celtics. He started tonight in the game against the Dallas Mavericks. Started tonight. Looking at the box score, he flirted with a triple double. He flirted with a triple double tonight in the Celtics 120 to 100 win. Celtics now 42-21 on the season. Tatum, look, people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, it's Tatum, not the Tatum of old." Relax, relax. It's his first game back, but in 27 minutes, had a pretty decent night. At 15 points, 12 boards, 7 assists. The playmaking and rebounding was on display. What you saw tonight, you saw flashes of the old Tatum. He had the put back dunk. Then he had the corner threes. He was 3 of 8 from three. Obviously, this is big to have Tatum back in the lineup now because Tatum doesn't have to be Batman. Tatum doesn't have to be Jason Tatum. He could just be okay to good. I mean, Brown tonight he had 24, 7, and 7. What's going to be key for them is obviously getting him back is a boost because Tatum can go off on any time, but you saw tonight's playmaking abilities. Kata played well. White played well. Pritchard off the bench played well. He obviously brings an extra spark, and I get it. It's just Dallas, but if he's even 85% of what he was, of what he was uh, going into the postseason, I like Boston's chances out the East. I really do. Detroit. That's a team for Detroit. Now that's a team for Detroit that you're that I'm looking at. I'm like, I love to see that matchup. And now the East is interesting because obviously you still have Detroit, who's been flying this season. They've been flying high with 45 and 16, but then you got Boston there, just gets Tatum back. The Knicks, they've been playing better. Cleveland's been playing better. Obviously, Toronto's interesting. Philly's interesting. So yeah, I getting Tatum back. Tatum, what I wanted to see was could his body hold up? Could his body hold up in terms of what it took to play in an NBA game? And I thought he did pretty well. Paced himself. They didn't play him ridiculous amount of minutes. I I truly like I truly like what what he gave them tonight. And I don't think they overplayed him. Look, the Boston Celtics weren't gonna risk him. I felt like I did have a concern was if he was coming back too quick, but I feel like look if the Celtics are going to be contenders for the next 5 to 8 years. If he's not good enough to play, they're not going to put him out there. If he's not healthy enough to play, they're not going to put him out there. So props to so look Tatum back in 10 months. The eh, great for him, and it makes things interesting in the East in the Celtics right now. I mean, they were rolling without him. They'll be rolling with them. That's for sure. Go win tonight against Dallas. Now let's go college basketball. Where should we begin tonight? Where should we begin? Let's start. Let's start in the Big East. St. John's beats Seton Hall 72-65. St. John's clinches a share of the Big East. This all but effectively ends Seton Hall's chances probably making the NCAA tournament unless they win their conference tournament. Unless they win their conference tournament. Another bubble team won tonight as well. VCU, I believe it was their second quad one win of the season on the road. Huge for them. But Seton Hall, man, the I want to focus on them for a second, just because I look at it as what happened. What happened? They this season showed a lot of promise early. They were ranked 25th, I believe, in the middle of January, and they've just fallen off. I mean, they just and they've coming up short. Came up short against UConn twice. Came up short now against St. John's twice. It's just I thought they had a lot of promise. When you hit 1 3-pointer, it's very tough to win. I mean, you look at their resume. They've got 2 quad 3 losses, 4 quad 2 losses. It's just have some bad losses there. It's not gonna get it. Not gonna get it done. they've really disappointed me, and they're probably not going to make the tournament. St. John's will be in the NCAA tournament. St. John's just clinched a share of the Big East regular season title. They will be the number one seed. They will be the number one seed in the Big East tournament next week, which means they won't play till I believe that Thursday. And then obviously, if they win the events Friday, UConn has a chance to clinch a share against Marquette as well. What more can you say about St. John's? This is a team that a lot of people thought they're not that good. They had a hard non-con. I mean, if you look at their non-con, they were ranked top 5 early in the season. They lose to Alabama. They lose to Iowa State. They lose to Auburn by 11. I mean, they lost the game to Kentucky, and you go, what's happening here? But they obviously lost the game to Providence early in the season. And you look at, and it's just like, is this team going to be any good? And well, since that Providence game, they've been great. Their only loss since that Providence game has been that UConn loss on the 25th of February. So St. John's has been rolling here. I think the key for St. John's going in, obviously, Zuby Ejiofor. I had 21 points tonight, even in the foul trouble. 2 boards, not good, but he's usually a double-double machine. I think Dylan Darling is going to be the key in how well he plays. I think when he's going, when he's going, St. John's is very hard to beat. Very hard to beat. Obviously, they're trying to work Ian Jackson back into the root of things, because I think they're trying to work him back into the fold of things. But yeah, I really like St. John's right now. I like teams that are playing their best in February, March, and that's what they are. Very good defensively. I think I like them better offensively because last year's team couldn't make a three to save their life, but they guarded. This team, I like them because even though they're not great from three, they're good enough from three. I believe as long as they don't go cold in an NCAA tournament game, they'll be all right. Look, for St. John's, this is a team that hasn't made the second weekend of the NCAA, or program that hasn't made the second weekend of the NCAA tournament since 20 since in 27 years. They haven't made the second weekend. I thought last year they were going to do it. Obviously, the game against Arkansas happened. But I think this year, depending on the draw, I really think, and even d- disregarding the draw, I do think they have a good chance to go. 72-65 is the score. They beat Seton Hall, and good for them. And they clinch a share of the Big East regular season title. What more can you say about the Chapatino's done in his third year there? Back-to-back regular season titles. Amazing. Now, let's go. Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio beats their rival Ohio to finish with a perfect regular season. 110-108. This game had me standing. This was a great one. I was glued to Mac basketball. Let's talk about it. This is a place, Miami of Ohio, you can say for their program has been a house of horrors. They haven't won there since 2011. In Ohio, for them, obviously, they're not making the NCAA tournament unless they make a run in the MAC tournament and win the whole thing. This was their bowl. This is what it was. They had a chance to get to over 500 to end the regular season, and in and they had a chance to finish over 500 in the regular season and in the conference and in tournament play. And this was a rivalry game. These two teams do not like each other. Ohio, man, that crowd there was rocking. And this is the thing about Miami of Ohio, like you're gonna get like that place was rocking, and you're gonna get their best shot. Miami of Ohio through these past ever since they've had this undefeated in it, and I'll say once they got to like 20 and out, you're getting everybody's best shot. They got Western Michigan's best shot, they got Toledo's best shot, they got Ohio's best shot. I mean, coming down the stretch here, really. I mean, I'm looking at these games like the Western Michigan one. They were down, and you're thinking they're not gonna pull this off. But then they come, and especially when Suter fouled out, but they come back and rally. The Toledo game, they obviously win, and then tonight, it was absolute cinema. This, I'm telling you, what was on the line for Miami of Ohio, an NCAA tournament berth, a a a MAC. They've already clinched a share, but an outright MAC championship and an NCAA tournament berth, and obviously the undefeated season. Also, winning in a place you haven't won in 15 years is an accomplishment. I mean, this is a team here that they've played really good basketball. They've stayed connected. What's scary about Miami of Ohio is they have guys that they stretch out the floor. Elmer, Suter, they can stretch you out, and they shoot the three ball incredibly well. They have guys off the bench that can come in and score. I mean, I'm looking at Ohio Simmons and Jackson Pavlitsky. They gave it all they had. Combined 67 points between those two guys alone. So Ohio, they brung it. But man, Miami of Ohio, their ability just to stretch you out, shoot the three ball, pick and roll, they share the basketball. They're cutting. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. The only thing that concerns me is they probably don't defend all the time at the level that you would like. Sometimes their defense is but it's not like they don't give effort. They give effort. It's just sometimes they have a defensive breakdown, whatever. Again, they were tested in this game. Obviously, at the end of the game, talking stuff to the fans, Ohio stuff on throwing stuff on the court, middle fingers, all that. Miami of Ohio, another escape, gets out of there outright. And look, I'm gonna be honest here. Get the MAC tournament. Miami of Ohio, I want them to get to the finals, obviously. Keep their undefeated. Anything can happen in March. Give me Miami of Ohio in Akron for the second straight year. Because this is what a lot of people's not talking about in this conference. To me, if Akron wins the MAC conference tournament, you should get a two-bid MAC conference. Akron is 25-5. Okay, and you say, well, 25-5. That's not that. Or excuse me, 26-5. Excuse me. Oh, well, in the MAC, 26-5. Da da da. They're 17-1 in the conference, and their only losses to the undefeated team. Akron has been smacking people all year, but nobody's talking about them because of what Miami of Ohio's doing. Akron's playing some great basketball, and and I think we could be on collision course for that matchup. Round one was played in Miami of Ohio, obviously won it, but I think we could be in store for round two there. And if you remember last year, Miami of Ohio and Akron played in the MAC title game. Miami of Ohio had a double-digit lead, and Akron came back to win the game just barely and go to the NCAA tournament. Miami of Ohio has had a chip on that shoulder. Hopefully next Saturday that is a game, but anything can happen in March, obviously. So you don't one of those teams could get picked off again. Missouri Valley Conference has been insanity. But yeah, the, what a win for Miami of Ohio, and they are NCAA, and they should be NCAA tournament bound. It'd be a shame if they weren't. It'd be a travesty, like I said, but they are NCAA tournament bound. I want to preview some of the weekend games because we got some big ones. The Missouri Valley is semifinals is set. It's crazy in the Missouri Valley. Let's just start. Drake. Let's a quick recap. Drake upset Belmont. So Drake had lost, I believe, 9 in a row coming into the tournament. They won their first game, and then they beat Belmont, who I thought was easily the best team in the conference. They beat them by 21 points. They advance. They're going to play the UIC Flames, who beat Murray State by 13. Just the winner of that semifinal will have a chance will play on Sunday afternoon for the right to go to the NCAA tournament. Just off of that semifinal alone, UIC is 18-14, Drake's 14-19. Arch Madness in everyone. Bradley beat Valpo in one of the most insane games you'll see. It happened in double overtime. And Iowa blew out Illinois State, which leads us. That's the second semifinal tomorrow. UIC opens as a 5.5 point favorite. Bradley, they don't even have Northern Iowa's name on here. I don't even know the line there, but yeah. So that's just quick recap in Missouri Valley. It's going to be interesting if Drake. I'm interested to see if Drake beats UIC and they're 15-19, and if they're them being 1 win away from the NCAA tournament for back to back. That's just nuts to me. Drake. Anytime the Missouri Valley runs around, comes around conference tournament, they're just as great. Again, folks, they lost 9 games in a row, and they are now 2 wins away from making the NCAA tournament. That's March, ladies and gentlemen, for you. But let's go back to we got some big matchups here on Saturday. On Saturday, let's start here. Arkansas, Mizzou. Mizzou, if they win this game, I believe they go to the NCAA tournament. If they lose, things get more interesting. Arkansas here at 22-8. These teams just recently played in Arkansas won by 8 in a high scoring contest. Arkansas is just trying to make sure they get that double bye. Or I believe it's double bye, triple bye, whatever it is, in the NCAA tournament. That's what they're trying to get. Mizzou with the win can. Mizzou with the win, I believe, can also get it depending on what Tennessee does. There's a bunch of teams that Arkansas, Alabama, and Florida are probably Florida. Obviously, they won a conference. They'll buy Alabama as long as they don't lose to Auburn, but they're pretty much almost set for a double bye. Arkansas, obviously, you want to improve your tournament seeding and just make sure you secure that double bye. Mizzou, if they obviously they won't get that double bye. Can Missouri slow down Darius Acuff? Can they slow down Acuff? That's going to be a key for me. Because against Arkansas, Arkansas is going to score the basketball. You truly aren't going to shut down Arkansas. They get up and down floor. To me, in that road environment, Acuff last time, he had 20. But he's the engine behind this whole thing. To me, Acuff may get off, and you want to slow him down. But when Acuff gets off, you can't let the other get off. In the game they played a couple weeks ago, Acuff had 20, but then Brazil, he had 12 and 6. Richmond had 21. He's their X factor. Thomas had 14. Ewing had 16 and 8. So the key for Mizzou, can Mizzou be solid enough? Mizzou, can they be solid enough defensively? That to me is going to be a big key. And for Arkansas, obviously Acuff can just take over a game, but they want to get up and down, and they really want to score the basketball. Another game, a sleeper game. I think Louisville and Miami is a sleeper game. Louisville, they've been very up and down. Miami had at the end of the year, I believe they've actually clinched a double bye as well. What's going to be interesting to me in that game is the guard play. To me, Miami is more balanced, in my opinion. I believe Miami, with their, I believe their bigs are a little bit better than Louisville. But Louisville, their guards, man. When their guards are on, they are very tough to beat. When their guards are on, when Hatley's on, when McNeely's on, when Conwell's on, they're hard to beat. Now, in their last game, they did not have Michael Brown, the star freshman. So that to me is going. They haven't had him for a couple games now. So to me, I don't know if he's playing, but obviously that weakens them. For Miami, to me, what it's going to be about for Miami, obviously they're going to have to guard. They're going to have to guard. Well, to me, the key, you just need to be balanced, and you're really going to need it off the bench. Again, you've got Renew, Henderson, Uday, Donaldson. Miami, they just need to stay balanced. They shoot it well from three. Last game, they were 11 of 18. You want to take just good shots. To me, late in the game, when it comes down to March, it's your guard play. And to me, late in the game, who's if this is close, whose guards are going to which team's guards are going to get them the best shots? That to me is what's going to come down to, and whoever's team does that, I believe they'll, I believe they'll win. I believe they'll win. And I like Miami though because they've been rolling. They've really been rolling here. So yeah, but that to me that is a sleeper game. We got a couple big matchups. That 4 o'clock window is really stacked. But before we get to that, let's let's go to the Big Ten. I kind of wanna get to them. I want to get to it. Indiana Ohio State in a bubble matchup. This is what it is. If Ohio State wins, they're going to the big dance. If Indiana wins, I believe they're in good position for the big dance. It almost feels like winning in. That's what it feels like. If Indiana can go on the road and win this game, it'd be their third quad one win. If Wisconsin beats Purdue, Wisconsin will move into the top 30 at the net, which means that be 4 quad one wins for the Hoosiers. If they, as long as they avoid that catastrophic loss in the Big Ten tournament, I think they're in. It to me, this is more to me. This is a must win for both. I would say in the okay, I'll give you my Ohio State thing in a minute. Indiana's obviously must win because if you lose, you essentially have to win 3 or 4 games in the Big Ten tournament to probably get in, and I don't see them doing that. But I've seen crazier things. Ohio State, I feel like it's a must win because to me, the only way you don't make the tournament is if you lose at home to Indiana and then you lose the first game of the Big Ten tournament. Because now I'm looking at your resume, I'm like 19-13. This, this. I don't love it. I will say it again. The key is going to be the guards. Thornton, Mobley, Wilkerson. To me, the X factor in this game for Indiana are going to be Sam Alexis and Nick Dorn. Those two guys. If Dorn has a good shooting night and gets into double figures, I truly believe in Alexis has a good night. I truly believe Indiana will go on the road and win this game. And will put but what can't obviously Tucker DeVries for Indiana has to be aggressive as well. And this is going to be a tough task. Obviously, Indiana lives and dies by the three. But to me, it's going to be about the way they guard it. I thought, yes, it was Minnesota, but it's a team that beat them. I thought they guarded well. Ohio State's been very, very hot recently. Why have they been able to do that? Well, part of it, a lot of it has been the return of John Mobley. John Mobley and Bruce Thornton. Those two guys, those are two of the guards. To me, Jake Diebler, this is senior day for a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. This is it right here. These these two teams have put themselves, I think Ohio State more than Indiana, but Ohio State has put themselves in a position now to where if they win, they're in. Doesn't matter what the Big Ten tournament does. Indiana has put themselves into a position where if they win, they're most likely gonna be in Dayton. I think a win puts them in Dayton. And then if they win, if they beat one of the lower tier teams in the Big Ten. They'll be in for sure, but they'll probably still be in Dayton. If they win another game after that, things get interesting. Are they in Dayton? Did they just get to the last 4 byes? Things get interesting. Indiana's locked into the 10 seed, by the way. That's why I say that. So yeah, for Indiana, for Ohio State, they've won 4 in a row, putting themselves in this position. It's a massive one. Or excuse me, not 4 in a row. Why am I thinking 4 in a row? They've won 2 in a row. They knew what was on the line. But I will say this: in the month of February, they have been playing a little bit better basketball. And obviously, the calendar turned March, and they beat Purdue. You beat Penn State. You blow out Penn State like you're supposed to. You're feeling good in terms of the bubble matchups. Now, going from that bubble matchup into another matchup, I want to talk about before a couple matchups I want to talk about before I get off here. Staying in the Big Ten, Wisconsin versus Purdue, 4 p.m. CBS. Senior Day in West Lafayette. This for Purdue in this game. Purdue has not been playing well for their standards. I don't know what their deal has been. This team has been very hot and cold. Purdue is playing to get the triple bye. If they win and Nebraska loses on Sunday, they'll get the triple bye. They'll get it. Wisconsin as well. Obviously, they're playing for that. Winner of this game will at least be a 5 seed. Again, I believe Wisconsin cannot get the triple bye. I don't think they can. I'll check on that, but I don't believe they can. But obviously, they win. They move ahead for that 5 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, huge game for Wisconsin. You can still up that resume. Both teams are going to be in the NCAA tournament. This is the classic game. This is the classic team that Purdue struggles with. I know they beat Wisconsin early in the year. That team ain't this team. These are two different teams right now. Wisconsin, and I said it, the ability to stretch out the floor for the teams that can stretch out the floor can beat Purdue. When they bring that 5 out system, and obviously when the guards are rolling, it's just when you have Clough and Kaufman rain out there, it's tough. To me, where Purdue is going to have to beat Wisconsin is on the outside, is on the inside. You don't want to get into the 3-point battle with them. Also, to me, the X factor always for Purdue games are Fletcher Lawyer. If Fletcher Lawyer plays well and shoots the ball well, Purdue's probably going to win at home. If he doesn't, it gets dicey. He's always going to be the key for me when it comes to Purdue, because to me, he unlocks a different level to where Purdue can go. Obviously, Smith has to play better. It's his senior day, senior afternoon. He's going to have to play better. But to me, that's going to be the key. That is always going to be the key. So it's going to be interesting in West Lafayette. I'm very interested to watch that game in the Big Ten. Okay, now let's go. We're gonna wrap it up here talking about the SEC. Florida and Kentucky in Lexington. What version of Kentucky is going to show up at this point? I don't know. Look, Florida's been rolling Florida looks like a national title team again under Todd Golden. I don't know. I don't know what version of Kentucky's going to show up. If the version of Kentucky that's up and down shows up, they're probably going to get blown out the water. If the version of Kentucky shows up that looks like they're a top 15 to 20 team and that can beat anybody in that arena, I believe they have a good shot to win this game. Again, the difference is going to be the guards. I'm telling you, front court, obviously, but like it's going to be a Fland and Lee versus Oway and Chandler. Like that's going to me, that is going to be the difference. When it comes down to March, it's about your guards. The one thing about Florida is they know their roles. Chinulu is very tough down there. Hauk is the stretch four. They all know what their role is and what they're supposed to be doing. So, to me, look, in the first game, I thought Kentucky was okay, but Kentucky, like, they never led in that game. It's going to be an emotional game, an emotional day there in Lexington. To me, it's going to be about obviously keeping emotions in check. You have to try to match Florida's physicality as well, because Florida's a very physical team. You have to try and match them. But with Kentucky, like they got a guard. They got a guard. It's just like, okay, the last two games, they beat Vandy really handedly by 14 points. Looked really good. Everybody was involved. Aberdeen, Oway, Chandler. Look good. Look good. Score 91 points. And then you have the A&M game where you just go, huh? Where Texas A&M just shoots the lights out from three. And you just go, there. You just go, like I don't know what you want me to tell you. So yeah, again, which version of Kentucky is going to show up is kind of my analysis on that. I don't know which version is going to show up. Next, here, and we'll finish it out, Tennessee and Vandy. Vandy's been sliding. Tennessee, they've been playing well, better. Tennessee won the first game. And Vandy. This is for the double bye in the SEC tournament. If Mizzou loses, if Vandy beats Tennessee, I believe they will get that double bye. So in the SEC tournament. So yeah, it's a big game. If you go back and look at the first matchup on February 21st, 69-65, what you'll see is Tennessee didn't shoot it great, but it got into one of those rugged games, very defensive, gritty games, and that's where Tennessee wants to be. And if Tennessee plays another game like that, they're gonna win this game. To me, if this game gets into the mid 70s, 80s, 90s, that's where Vandy wants it to be. That's where Vanderbilt can win, and that's where Vandy's at their best, in my opinion. So to me, the key, I believe if that game's mid 60s, close to early 70s, that's Tennessee the win. If that game is 75, 80s, that's Vandy's game all the way. Vandy's going to have a tough time on the road. It's an in-state rivalry. All right, everybody. This has been a Friday night edition of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next time, I will see you.